In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Most Merciful, all praise is due to Allah, of course, for coming to us in the person of Master Farad Muhammad. We thank him for raising one from among us, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, who gave us a body of knowledge that we call the teachings. And we thank Minister Louis Farrakhan for being a humble steward of those teachings and giving us the example of how those teachings can grow you into a God. In their names, I greet you in the words of peace of Assalamu alaikum. My name is Brother Akili Muhammad, and I am a student of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and Minister Farrakhan. Without their teaching, I would have nothing of value to give you. But my experience, my 21 years of experience in the medical field, my experience in life, I pray will benefit you through this study of How to Eat to Live, Book 1. Before I get specifically to the introduction of the class, I would like to read something from the study guides. This is from Will of God, Part 3. It seems to me that you hear me, but it is going in one ear and out of the other, because your mind is so filled with the education and civilization of this world. You do not recognize that Jesus the Christ brings a totally new civilization. He wants to make you a new people, but you cannot be made new if you hold on to the way of foolishness of the old world. You must become as a child. A child is one that has to be nurtured, and when you are thinking of yourself as a child, you become humble to your teacher. Then your teacher can reshape, remold, and make you new. So I wanted to mention that because, of course, there's a lot of information in public about health. But God says the same at the end of this class. You'll see that we have something that we can use to make an evaluation on whether or not that is true. I'm talking about the other information. So I would like for you to get this Final Call newspaper, which is from August 22nd. And there was a health article towards the end of the paper where we have a list of a lot of the health statistics of black people. Okay? If you get a chance to read those, look at those. I don't want us to belabor the point. I don't want us to spend a lot of time on the statistics that are negative. But we do have to have somewhat of an understanding of where we are and why we need a new educational paradigm when it comes to general reality of our existence in this country as black, brown, and red people. But of course, this class specifically, when it comes to health, we need something new to give us a different reality. So I attempted to look at How to Eat to Live and break it down into 4 sections. I don't believe I'm trying to be arrogant when I do that. I was just trying to figure out a way to put it in 4 sections so that we could look at it in a particular way and then study it in that way. But I don't have the ability to say that that's what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was doing when I suggest that there are 4 different sections of the book. I just did that so that we could break it down in 4 points for this class. I just want to clarify. So the first section of How to Eat to Live, Book 1, that we're going to study is pages 1 through 28. And I generalized that section as the basics of how to eat to live. So what we do not want to do is repeat the cycle of life that we see when we see our grandmothers, grandfathers, uncles, aunts, mothers, fathers, other family members getting sick. We look at that and we say, oh my goodness, that's my future. Well, no, that's your future if you act and do and continue to go in the manner that you have been trained. But my experience is that when people follow this book, they start getting something different. So we have to do a lot of contemplation, as the Quran says, and the Bible in plenty sections it says to consider, to ponder, to think about things. So that's the most important aspect of this class, is to read, is to study, but then to take in consideration your environment. What's happening when you sit down at the table to eat? What have you been trained to do? What typically happens in black families, in red families, and in brown families when we're eating? Very important aspect of staying alive, and sometimes we don't consider what's important. So that is how powerful this book is. The basics of How to Eat to Live, of course, in the first pages 1 through 28 of How to Eat to Live. And that's what we're doing. We're looking at trying to learn something new. Consider the way that this man is giving us health, so that we could hopefully produce a different reality if we stay dedicated and diligent to what he's teaching in this book. Part 2, page 29 to 62. We're talking about the benefits of following divine guidance. And so again, I'm making generalizations, but a lot of the material in this second section is going to be dealing with how to change your lifestyle and how we can improve what we see in the black, brown, and the red community. Because if you see these medical problems that are in these statistics, as well as what I just mentioned about our lifestyle and looking at our families, you may develop a mental disturbance. You may develop an idea, well, this is my future. And so it's very important during this section that you look at what you have as an idea of health. And then as you look forward, will this section give you more confidence that there's something that you can do to be more in control, to have a better outcome based on what you do. Part number 3, the consequences of following your enemy. This is page 63 to 89. So the reality of our condition here in America is due to the fact that we follow what we are trained to do in our homes. Eating 3 meals a day. Some people are eating 4 or 5 meals a day. Some people drink while they eat. Some people eat certain foods that they read or they see on TV or the internet or in magazines. Certain foods are supposed to have certain qualities and they give you certain nutrients. Well, what we want to do is compare what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad says in How to Eat to Live, Book 1, to the information that we're getting in public, or the information that we've seen as we're growing up in our homes, or seen in places that we have visited, or seen in restaurants or grocery stores. That's what we want to do. Because what I can say, just as a little caveat, is that the idea of eating 3 meals a day was never based on science. It was based on food corporations and other entities in producing a meal plan for Americans that was about selling products. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad mentions that we're dealing with a commercializing people. Money as the root of an idea on how to take care of your lifestyle is not going to compare with somebody who is bringing information from God and trying to offer you a lifestyle that will give you life and life of abundancy. So that section, the consequences of following your enemy, and it may be a very great correlation between those statistics that we looked at in the final call and what we see in this book that's being described to us. Part 4 will be pages 90 to 119. And I summarize this section as guidance for the beauty appearance. Of course, the beauty appearance is not necessarily what we see in the mirror, but it's that as well. But it's also, how does your body function? How do you think? How are you physically capable of handling what you have in your life as a challenge or a requirement, or just the ability to make it from day to day? Do you have the beauty appearance to do that in a manner that's efficient and functional? So we also want to look at, in part 4, the fact that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad mentions that there's very little pure food on the market. And if we do an evaluation of what we are currently living in, The majority of grocery stores are foods that are not good for us. When we go outside, we see chemtrails. The air is not good for us. We know that there are a lot of pharmaceuticals and estrogen and other things in the water, so the water is not necessarily good for us. But how do you come out of this 4-week class, and especially in this last section where we're talking about the guidance for the beauty appearance, how do we come out with confidence that we have gotten good guidance and that we can survive at a very, very, very healthy way in this current environment? We were given that in this book. So you'll have to challenge yourself to study, to read, to go through the evaluations so that you come out of this class as a steward, meaning that you're going to go be an example, that you're going to take this teaching and try it on yourself, and then try to influence the people that you know and see, because that's how you prove or you disprove things. And this section is going to be about how we are guaranteed good health. Yes, in the environment that we live in now. So I pray that this introduction gives you kind of a glimpse on what we're going to try to do in 4 weeks. I believe it will be challenging, but I believe the challenge will also produce a great benefit. So 4 parts. Each section will have an evaluation that I pray is interesting and also fun. And so at the end of the 4 weeks, we hope to be and we hope to produce a new educational paradigm when it comes to a lifestyle plan. And that plan is going to be based on How to Eat to Live Book 2. So thank you for listening. Thank you for your attention. I pray that you receive it in the manner it was given, and that is to give you a foundation for a brand new lifestyle. And if there were any mistakes made in this video, they are mine and not those of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad nor Minister Farrakhan. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.